In a far corner of space, there was a story that many starship crews liked to tell. It was about a strange and mysterious ship called the Revenant. Some said it wandered through parts of the galaxy no one dared to explore. Others claimed it appeared out of nowhere, only to vanish again like a ghost. Most dismissed it as a sailor's tale, something made up to scare new recruits. But Captain Lucas Grant wasn't so quick to laugh it off. Lucas commanded a small frigate named the Eclipse *. His crew was on patrol near the edge of the Orion Expanse, an area known for its dangers. Strange things happened there. Ships disappeared, signals went silent, and some even swore they saw lights moving in patterns that couldn't be explained. The expanse was vast and mostly uncharted, but orders were orders. Someone had to keep an eye on it. One evening, as the stars stretched endlessly outside the ship's windows, navigator Clara Bennett noticed something odd on her scanner. "Captain," she said, leaning forward in her seat, "there's something out there." Her voice carried a hint of worry. Lucas walked over, his boots clicking softly against the metal floor. He looked at the screen, where a faint blip flickered in and out of view. "What is it?" he asked, frowning. "I don't know," Clara admitted. "It's not like anything I've seen before. It's hazy." Lucas stared at the screen for a moment longer, then turned to the rest of the bridge crew. "Bring us closer," he ordered. "Let's see what we're dealing with." The Eclipse moved slowly toward the source of the signal. As they approached, the object began to take shape. At first, it looked like nothing more than a shadow against the endless blackness of space. But as they got nearer, details emerged. It was a ship, or at least it looked like one. Its surface shimmered strangely, almost like liquid metal reflecting light. There were no markings, no signs of life, just smooth curves and sharp edges that seemed designed by some unknown hand. "This can't be real," muttered Ryan Cole, the ship's engineer, who had come up to the bridge to see what all the fuss was about. "No ship looks like that." "Maybe it's not a ship," suggested Olivia Hart, the communications officer. She adjusted her headset nervously, trying to pick up any kind of transmission. "Could it be? I don't know. Debris. Or maybe an asteroid." "No," Lucas said firmly. "That's a ship, and it's watching us." As if on cue, the mysterious vessel suddenly pulsed with light. A wave of energy shot out from it, hitting the Eclipse hard. Lights flickered across the bridge, and alarms screamed loudly. For several tense seconds, everyone froze, unsure of what was happening. Then, just as quickly as it had come, the energy faded, leaving the crew in stunned silence. "What was that?" Clara whispered, her hands gripping the edges of her console tightly. Ryan shook his head. "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not natural. That thing doesn't follow any rules we understand." Lucas took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "Get me a status report," he ordered, "and somebody figure out what just hit us." Over the next few minutes, the crew worked frantically to assess the damage. Miraculously, nothing major seemed broken, at least not yet, but when they looked back at their scanners, the strange ship was gone. It had vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind only questions and unease. Later that night, Lucas sat alone in his quarters, staring at a holographic map of the region. He couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over, that whatever they'd encountered was still out there, waiting. Clara's words echoed in his mind. "There's something out there, he just hoped they wouldn't regret finding it." Little did he know, the legend of the Revenant was about to become far more real and far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Days passed after the strange encounter with the shimmering ship, but life aboard the Eclipse remained tense. The crew couldn't stop talking about what they had seen, or thought they had seen. Some believed it was a glitch in their equipment, while others whispered that maybe the old stories about the Revenant were true. Captain Lucas Grant tried to keep everyone focused on their duties, But even he found himself glancing at the scanners more often than usual. Then, one morning, everything changed. The Eclipse picked up a distress signal coming from deep within the Orion expanse. It was faint and garbled, but Olivia Hart, the communications officer, managed to piece together enough of it to understand the message. "It's a cargo freighter," she reported to Lucas. "They're saying their engines are down, and they're under attack." Lucas frowned. Attacks in this part of space weren't unheard of, but they were rare. Pirates usually avoided the expanse because of its unpredictable conditions. Still, it was their job to investigate. "Set a course," he ordered. "Let's see what we're dealing with." As the Eclipse approached the source of the signal, the crew spotted the freighter drifting helplessly in the void. Its hull was scorched and battered, evidence of some kind of battle. But there was no sign of any attackers, no ships, no weapons fire, nothing. Clara Bennett studied her scanner readings closely. "Captain, something's wrong here," she said hesitantly. "I'm picking up, I don't know, some kind of energy signature nearby. It's faint, but it's there." Before Lucas could respond, the shimmering ship appeared again. This time, it didn't stay hidden or distant. It materialized right in front of them, close enough for the crew to see every detail. Its surface gleamed like liquid silver, shifting and changing as if alive. Strange patterns ran along its hull, glowing softly in hues of blue and green. It was both beautiful and terrifying. "What do we do?" Clara asked, her voice trembling. "Stay calm," Lucas replied, though his own heart was racing. He turned to Ryan Cole, who stood nearby. "Can we scan it? Get me anything you can, size, weapons, propulsion systems, whatever." Ryan nodded and got to work, his fingers flying over the console. But before he could finish, the mysterious ship acted. A pulse of energy shot out from it, hitting the Eclipse hard. Lights flickered across the bridge, and alarms blared once more. For a moment, it felt like the entire ship would shut down completely. Then, just as suddenly as it had come, the energy faded. "Report," Lucas barked. "All systems are back online," Ryan said quickly. "But, Captain, that pulse, it didn't damage us. It disabled us. Temporarily, like it was probing us." Olivia looked up from her station. "Sir, I think I've got something. Those patterns on its hull, they're not random. They're symbols. Maybe some kind of language." Lucas rubbed his temples, trying to process everything. The ship wasn't attacking them. Not yet, anyway. But it clearly wasn't friendly either. And now it seemed capable of communicating in ways they didn't understand. "Keep working on those symbols," he told Olivia. "See if you can decode them." But before anyone could act further, the shimmering ship vanished again. 1 second it was there, looming over them like a predator, and the next it was gone without a trace. The only sound on the bridge was the soft hum of the ship's systems returning to normal. "Well," Clara said finally, breaking the silence, "that was unsettling." "You can say that again," Ryan muttered. Lucas stared out the viewport, his mind racing. Whatever this ship was, it wasn't just a ghost story anymore. It was real, and it was dangerous. And worst of all, it seemed to be playing with them, testing their limits, seeing how they would react. He knew they couldn't face it alone. If they wanted answers and survival, they'd need help. Later that day, Lucas sent a detailed report to Fleet Command, describing everything they had encountered. He included scans, recordings, and Olivia's preliminary analysis of the symbols. The response came faster than he expected. Admiral Carter herself contacted him directly, her face appearing on the main screen. "We've received similar reports from other patrols," she said gravely. "This isn't an isolated incident. Something big is happening out there, Captain. Be ready. We may need your crew sooner than you think." Lucas nodded, though his stomach churned with unease. Sooner or later, they'd have to confront the Revenant again. And next time, It might not let them walk away so easily. The message from Admiral Carter spread quickly through Fleet Command, and within hours, plans were set into motion. The reports of the shimmering ship, now confirmed to be real, had rattled even the highest-ranking officers. No one wanted to admit it, but fear was creeping in. This wasn't just another unknown threat. It was something completely beyond their understanding. To deal with it, Admiral Carter ordered the formation of a massive armada, pulling together 12 of the most powerful warships in the fleet. Leading the operation was Captain Evelyn Dawson, a seasoned officer known for her calm under pressure. She commanded the battleship Invincible Asterisk, a towering vessel equipped with advanced weapons and armor. Alongside her would be Captain Lucas Grant and the Eclipse Asterisk, whose crew had first-hand experience with the mysterious ship. Other captains joined as well, each bringing their own skills and ships to the mission. Together, they formed an imposing force, a show of strength meant to intimidate whatever they were about to face. Before departure, Evelyn gathered all the captains for a briefing. They stood around a large table displaying a holographic map of the Orion Expanse. "We don't know what this thing is," Evelyn began, her voice steady but firm. "But we know it's dangerous. It's fast, powerful, and unpredictable. Our goal is simple: find it, confront it, and neutralize the threat." Lucas listened carefully, his arms crossed over his chest. He knew better than anyone how dangerous the Revenant could be. "Captain Dawson," he said, stepping forward, "we've already seen what it can do. It didn't just attack us, it disabled us without firing a single shot. Whatever it is, it doesn't fight like we do." Evelyn nodded. "That's why we're going in numbers. If it takes one of us out, the rest will keep pushing. We'll overwhelm it." The plan seemed solid enough, but doubts lingered among the crew members. Back on the Eclipse Asterisk, Clara Bennett voiced her concerns during a quiet moment with Lucas. "Do you really think this will work?" she asked. 12 ships sound impressive, but if that thing can disable all of them at once, we don't have a choice," Lucas replied. "If we don't stop it now, who knows what it'll do next? It could start targeting colonies or supply lines. We can't let it roam free." As the Armada moved closer to the Expanse, tension grew thicker with every passing hard-cold space stretched endlessly outside the windows, and the hum of engines filled the silence aboard each ship. Sailors whispered nervously about the Revenant, sharing stories they'd heard from older crewmates. Some claimed it was cursed, while others said it was built by aliens long gone. None of the tales brought comfort. On the Invincible Asterisk, Evelyn paced the bridge, her mind racing. She trusted her crew and her ship, but deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into a trap. Still, she pushed those thoughts aside. Fear wouldn't help them now. What mattered was staying focused and ready for anything. When the fleet reached the edge of the Expanse, they slowed to regroup. Sensors scanned the area, searching for any sign of the Revenant. For a while, there was nothing, just empty space and distant stars. Then suddenly, it appeared. At first, it was little more than a faint glimmer on the horizon, but as it drew nearer, its true form became clear. The shimmering hull gleamed brightly, almost arrogantly, as if daring them to attack. Alarms blared across the fleet as everyone scrambled to prepare. "This is it," Evelyn said, gripping the railing on the bridge. Her voice carried no hint of fear, only determination. "All ships, lock targets and stand by. Let's see what this thing can handle." But even as the order went out, a chill ran through her. Something about the Revenant felt wrong. It wasn't just a ship. It was alive, or at least, it acted like it. And it was watching them, waiting. The battle was about to begin, and no one knew what horrors awaited. The moment the Revenant fully emerged, it struck without warning. A pulse of energy erupted from its hull, surging toward the fleet like a wave of invisible fire. The first ship to take the hit was a smaller destroyer named the Vanguard Asterisk. Its shields flickered and collapsed instantly, leaving the vessel exposed. Before anyone could react, another pulse tore through the Asterisk Vanguard's Asterisk engines, ripping the ship apart in a silent explosion of metal and flame. Panic spread across the Armada as captains shouted orders and crews scrambled to respond. Missiles streaked out from several ships, aimed directly at the Revenant. But instead of striking their target, the projectiles dissolved mid-flight, as if swallowed by some unseen force. Energy beams followed, bright lances of light cutting through space. But they too were useless. Each shot passed harmlessly through the shimmering hull, leaving no mark or damage behind. "What's happening?" Evelyn demanded, her voice rising above the chaos on the Asterisk Invincible's Asterisk bridge. "Why aren't our weapons working?" Ryan Cole, monitoring the situation aboard the Asterisk Eclipse Asterisk, had an answer. "It's not just blocking us," he said over the comms link shared between the ships. "It's absorbing the energy, using it against us." As if to prove his point, the Revenant unleashed another devastating pulse. This time, 3 ships were hit simultaneously. Their systems went dark, life support failing and lights blinking out. Crews scrambled into emergency suits, trying desperately to restore power while avoiding suffocation in the cold vacuum of space. One by one, the stricken vessels drifted helplessly, sitting ducks for whatever came next. Lucas watched the destruction unfold from the Asterisk Eclipse's Asterisk bridge, his jaw clenched tightly. "We're sitting targets out here," he muttered under his breath. Turning to Clara, he snapped, "Plot evasive maneuvers. Keep us moving." Clara nodded, her fingers flying over the console as she guided the Asterisk Eclipse Asterisk into a zigzag pattern. Around them, other ships tried similar tactics, but the Revenant seemed always one step ahead. It moved with unnatural speed and precision, appearing and disappearing, as though it existed outside normal physics. Every attempt to corner it failed miserably. Evelyn fought to maintain control of the fleet, barking commands over the comms channel. "All ships, focus fire on its core. If we can disable that, maybe we'll have a chance." Her voice carried authority, but even she couldn't hide the edge of desperation creeping in. The remaining ships concentrated their firepower on what appeared to be the center of the Revenant's hull, a glowing ore embedded deep within its structure. For a brief moment, it seemed to work. The orb flickered, dimming slightly as concentrated blasts hammered it from multiple angles. Cheers erupted on several bridges, hope flaring amidst the terror. But then the Revenant retaliated. With a low hum that resonated through every ship's hull, it released a massive burst of energy. The shockwave rippled outward, slamming into the fleet with devastating force. Ships tumbled end over end, their crews thrown violently against walls and consoles. On the Asterisk Invincible Asterisk, Evelyn grabbed hold of the railing to steady herself as alarms screamed around her. Smoke began filling the air as circuits overloaded and sparks flew. "Damage report," she shouted, coughing as the acrid smell of burning wires filled her lungs. "We've lost primary weapons," someone called back. "Shields are down to 20%. On the Asterisk Eclipse Asterisk, Ryan worked furiously to keep their systems running. "Captain, we're losing power to the engines," he yelled. "If we don't stabilize soon, we're dead in the water." Lucas glanced at the viewport, where the Revenant loomed larger than ever. It felt almost alive, its surface pulsating rhythmically, taunting them. He knew they couldn't win. Not like this. Not with brute force alone. "Fall back," Evelyn ordered, her voice cracking slightly. "All surviving ships, retreat to safe distance." One by one, the battered remnants of the Armada pulled away, limping toward safer territory. The Revenant didn't pursue. Instead, it hovered silently, watching as its enemies fled. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished again, leaving behind only wreckage and despair. As the surviving ships regrouped, Lucas stared out into the void, gripping the railing tightly. They had faced the impossible and lost. Whatever the Revenant was, it wasn't done with them yet. And next time, there might not be anyone left to fight back. As the battered Armada regrouped, the mood aboard every ship was grim. The Revenant had torn through their forces with ease, leaving behind a trail of destruction that none of them could forget. Survivors huddled together in cramped corridors, tending to the wounded and mourning those they'd lost. On the Invincible Asterisk, Captain Evelyn Dawson stared at the holographic map of the battle zone, her face pale but resolute. She knew she couldn't afford to break down, not when so many were looking to her for answers. "We can't fight it like this," Lucas said finally, breaking the heavy silence during a meeting of the remaining captains. "It's too powerful. We need another plan." Evelyn nodded slowly. "Agreed. But what do you suggest? Running isn't an option. It'll just keep coming after us." Lucas hesitated, glancing at Ryan Cole and Clara Bennett, who stood nearby. He trusted his crew more than anyone else in the fleet, and if there was a way to stop the Revenant, they'd find it together. "We use its own tactics against it," he said firmly. "Remember how it disabled us back in the Expanse? That pulse, it didn't destroy us. It shut us down temporarily. If we can replicate that effect on a larger scale, maybe we can disable it long enough to get close." Ryan frowned, thinking hard. "You're talking about an EMP blast," he said, "but something strong enough to affect the Revenant would take serious power and precision. One wrong move, and we could fry our own systems instead." "It's risky," Lucas admitted, "but it's all we've got." Clara leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she considered the idea. "If we time it right, we might be able to lure it into range. Use one of our ships as bait while the others hold back until the EMP hits." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "And which ship are you volunteering for this suicide mission?" Lucas met her gaze without flinching. "The Eclipse Asterisk. It's smaller and faster than the rest of the fleet. If anyone can pull it off, it's us." For a moment, Evelyn said nothing. Then she sighed heavily and nodded. "All right. But if you're going in alone, you'll have backup ready. I'll order the remaining ships to create a diversion. Keep the Revenant distracted while you position yourselves." With the plan set, preparations began immediately. Ryan and Olivia Hart worked tirelessly to modify the Eclipse's asterisk systems, rigging up an experimental EMP device capable of generating the kind of pulse needed. Meanwhile, Clara plotted a course designed to draw the Revenant directly into their trap. Every member of the crew pitched in, knowing their lives depended on getting everything perfect. When the time came, the fleet moved back into the Expanse, spreading out to form a wide perimeter. The Eclipse Asterisk hung near the center, engines idling as they waited. Tension filled the air, thick enough to choke on. No one spoke as they scanned the darkness, searching for any sign of their enemy. Then suddenly, it appeared. The Revenant materialized silently, its shimmering hull glowing faintly in the starlight. Without hesitation, it surged toward the nearest warship, unleashing another devastating pulse. Alarms blared across the fleet as chaos erupted once more. But this time, it was part of the plan. The other ships fired blindly, creating confusion and drawing the Revenant's attention away from the Eclipse Asterisk. "Now," Lucas shouted. Clara punched the throttle, sending the Eclipse Asterisk hurtling forward. They raced straight toward the Revenant, closing the gap quickly. As they approached, Ryan activated the EMP device, charging it to maximum capacity. The hum of energy vibrated through the ship, growing louder with each passing second. "Hold steady," Lucas ordered, gripping the railing tightly. Sweat dripped down his forehead as he watched the massive alien vessel loom closer, just a little farther. On board the Revenant, something seemed to shift. Its surface rippled unnaturally, almost as if it sensed danger. For a brief moment, Lucas wondered if their plan had been discovered, but then it was too late. The EMP detonated. A brilliant flash of light engulfed both ships, followed by a deafening crackle of energy. The Eclipse shuddered violently, lights flickering and consoles sparking as the wave washed over them. When it faded, the bridge fell silent, save for the faint hum of emergency systems kicking back online. Outside, the Revenant floated motionless for the first time, its glow dimmed and its surface eerily still. "Did it work?" Clara whispered, her voice trembling. Lucas didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed a rifle and turned to his crew. "Suit up. We're going aboard." The Eclipse's boarding team moved quickly, their footsteps echoing through the narrow corridors as they prepared to enter the Revenant. Lucas led the group, his rifle slung over his shoulder and a flashlight in hand. Behind him were Ryan Cole, Clara Bennett, and 2 security officers armed with stun weapons. Each of them wore protective suits designed to shield against unknown hazards, though none of them felt truly safe. As they approached the airlock of the alien ship, tension crackled in the air. Ryan worked the controls, trying to override the locking mechanism. "This thing doesn't follow any standard protocols," he muttered, frustration creeping into his voice. After several tense minutes, the door hissed open, revealing a dark, pulsating interior. The walls shimmered faintly, glowing with an eerie light that seemed alive. "Stay close," Lucas ordered, stepping inside cautiously. The floor beneath their boots felt soft, almost organic, as if the ship itself was made of living tissue. Strange symbols covered the surfaces, shifting and rearranging themselves like liquid ink. It was unlike anything they'd ever seen before. "This place, it feels wrong," Clara whispered, her voice barely audible. She reached out hesitantly, brushing her gloved fingers against the wall. A low hum resonated in response, making her pull her hand back sharply. "It reacted to me." Ryan frowned, scanning the area with his equipment. "I'm picking up massive energy readings, but no clear source. Whatever powers this ship, it's not mechanical." They pressed on, following the dimly lit passageways deeper into the vessel. The further they went, the stranger everything became. The air grew warmer, and faint whispers echoed around them. Soft murmurs that sounded almost like voices speaking in some ancient language. Olivia Hart's earlier translation attempts came to mind, but Lucas pushed the thought aside. There wasn't time for distractions now. After what felt like hours, they reached a large chamber at the heart of the ship. In the center stood a crystalline core, glowing brightly with an otherworldly light. It pulsed rhythmically, each beat sending waves of energy rippling through the room. Thin tendrils of light stretched from the core to the walls, connecting it to the rest of the ship like veins feeding into a body. "That must be its power source," Ryan said, staring at the core in awe. "If we can disable it." Before he could finish, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. Then, without warning, the core flared brightly, bathing the entire chamber in blinding light. Alarms blared inside their helmets, warning of rising radiation levels. "It knows we're here," Clara shouted, panic creeping into her voice. "We need to go. Now." Lucas hesitated, torn between retreat and action. They had come so far. Leaving empty-handed felt like failure. But the core was reacting too violently, and staying would mean certain death. "Fall back," he barked, turning toward the exit. "Move." The team sprinted back the way they came, their flashlights bouncing wildly as they retraced their steps. The walls seemed to shift around them, twisting and warping unnaturally. The whispers turned into screeches, deafening and disorienting. One of the security officers stumbled, clutching his helmet as if trying to block out the noise. "Keep moving," Lucas yelled, grabbing the man by the arm and hauling him upright. He glanced over his shoulder just in time to see one of the walls ripple and bulge outward, forming something resembling a clawed appendage. It lashed out, narrowly missing them as they ducked and ran. Finally, they reached the airlock, bursting back onto the Eclipse with gasps of relief. Ryan sealed the door behind them, slamming his fist on the control panel to lock it shut. Outside, The Revenant began to stir, its glow returning stronger than ever. "We didn't stop it," Clara said breathlessly, leaning against the wall for support. "All we did was piss it off." Lucas clenched his jaw, staring at the shimmering ship through the viewport. Its surface rippled angrily, and the glowing core within pulsed faster, almost angrily. Whatever they had done, it wasn't enough. "Back to the fleet," he ordered grimly. "Tell Captain Dawson we need a new plan, and fast." The Eclipse limped back to the remnants of the Armada, its crew battered and shaken but alive. Lucas stood on the bridge, staring out at the other ships as they drifted in formation. Most were damaged, their hulls scorched and their crews exhausted. The Revenant had shown them no mercy, and now humanity's best hope rested on scraps of information gathered during their desperate gamble. When they docked with the Invincible Asterisk, Captain Evelyn Dawson greeted them personally. Her face was drawn, her eyes heavy with fatigue, but she listened intently as Lucas recounted everything they'd seen inside the Revenant. "A living ship," she murmured when he described the pulsating walls and glowing core. "It's not just a machine. It's something else entirely." Ryan added grimly, "Whatever powers that thing, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered. We barely scratched the surface, and even that almost killed us." Evelyn nodded slowly, processing the weight of what they were up against. "So we're back where we started," she said finally. "But at least now we know one thing for sure. Brute force won't work. If we want to survive this, we'll need to think smarter, not harder." Over the next few days, the surviving ships regrouped and began repairs, piecing together what remained of their fleet. Engineers worked tirelessly to reinforce defenses and develop new strategies based on the data brought back by the Eclipse. Meanwhile, Fleet Command sent reinforcements. More ships, fresh supplies, and advanced technology rushed from distant colonies. Humanity wasn't giving up without a fight. Back aboard the Eclipse, Lucas called his senior officers together for one last meeting before their next encounter with the Revenant. Clara sat quietly, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, while Ryan paced nervously across the room. Olivia joined via comms link, still poring over recordings of the alien symbols in hopes of deciphering their meaning. "We can't keep running from this thing," Lucas said firmly, breaking the silence. "If we don't stop it here, it'll only grow stronger and bolder. Next time, it might come for Earth itself." Clara looked up, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "Then we make our stand here. Whatever happens, we can't let it win." Evelyn agreed, addressing the entire fleet in a final broadcast before battle. "This isn't just about survival anymore," she told them. "This is about protecting everything we hold dear. For every life lost, for every home destroyed, we owe it to ourselves, and to those who came before us, to fight. Not because we think we'll win, but because giving up isn't an option." When the Revenant returned, it did so with terrifying speed, appearing suddenly amidst the scattered fleet. This time, however, the humans were ready. Using decoys and coordinated attacks, they managed to weaken its defenses just enough to launch another EMP blast. The pulse struck true, disabling the alien ship once more, but only temporarily. As the Revenant floated motionless in space, the fleet prepared for a final assault. Missiles armed with experimental warheads targeted its glowing core, striking simultaneously in a desperate bid to destroy it. Explosions lit up the void as chunks of the shimmering hull broke apart, revealing the pulsating heart within. For a moment, it seemed like they'd succeeded. But then, as the smoke cleared, the core pulsed brighter than ever, reforming the shattered pieces around it. The Revenant wasn't dead, it was healing. Lucas watched from the viewport, his fists clenched tightly. They had pushed it to its limits, but it wasn't enough. As the fleet retreated once more, leaving behind debris and despair, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. The Revenant would return, stronger and angrier than before. And when it did, humanity would have to be ready, or risk losing everything forever.